Welcome to Exhibit. My name is Pratik. The Mercedes GLC is a global bestseller for Mercedes since a long many years. It has sold over 2.6 million units globally and more than 13,000 plus customers in India use it as their daily driver. This car was so popular that it was sold out even before it was phased out. And over a period of year, there was no booking taken for the Mercedes GLC. Not anymore. The new one is here, and is it worth your booking amount? Well, let's check it out. Mercedes has retained the GLC DNA with this 4-slat grille, and the entire fascia is now matching the entire lineup of what Mercedes offers in India. Not just that, you also get a chrome skid plate which is here and at the back as well. The newer GLC has also increased in size, 60 mm in the overall length, 15 mm of which has gone in the wheelbase, and about 70 plus litres of additional boot space, which is 620 litres. There's a newer 19-inch 5-spoke wheel which in turn looks like a 10-spoke wheel. The GLC DNA is also retained at its back. The chrome has now shifted from here to this skid plate right down here. These are fake exhaust tips. There's no real exhaust right down there. And this power tailgate liberates 620 litres of boot space, which is much more than the 550 offered before. Updating the GLC to its current era, Mercedes has also provided it with intelligent seats. You can also drop down the 60-40 split seats, and this will not just move the rear seat but also the front seat. The 288 mm of wheelbase liberates a good amount of knee room and a sufficient amount of headroom. The panoramic sunroof again adds a lot of light, and Mercedes is offering this interior space in 3 color options. There's also an armrest along with 2-step of a phone holder, and when you press it again, there are 2 cup holders that come out. This is pretty intuitive. Once you close this, there's also ample amount of space at its rear. You get 2 AC vents, you get sun blinds, you get 15 speakers system of Burmeister, and there's also 2 USB Type-C ports. Now there is a central tunnel right in the middle, and the car is a 4MATIC, so that's understandable. Apart from it all, there's also some interesting bits in here. There's dual tone of colors that you can have for internal ambient lighting, and the entire car is also much well insulated from the outside. There's one miss in the Indian GLC, and there is this space right in between the AC vents and the USB Type-C ports. It's not sufficient for just about anything. Maybe this is used as a 4-zone climate control in the global version, but in India, this space is something quite questionable. Although the space back here and the amount of illumination is quite well, there's good amount of window panes, there's quarter glass here, quarter glass at its back. But one gripe that we have with the design is that the front seats have been designed in such a way that they absolutely block the view of the person sitting behind. One thing that still feels like a miss on this mid-size SUV is that there's no recline angles on the rear seats, although the seats themselves are very well cushioned and the under-thigh support is also pretty ample. Mercedes has very well updated the entire interior of the GLC, just like the S-Class and the C-Class sedan. Now this interior also gets the MBUX treatment. You get the MBUX NTG7, which is one of the latest systems that Mercedes has on their S-Class, and now you have it available in the GLC as well. The 11.9 inch of screen is a welcome addition to the GLC, and it also gives a nice modern classic look to the entire cabin. This entire cabin is very well minimalistic. The brushed metal aluminum finish that you find on this particular dashboard is very classy and adds to the entire appeal of the GLC right now. There's also the off-road engineering package that is standard now on the GLC, and this entire cabin along with this carbon fiber glossy finish, well, it liberates good amount of space. There's a wireless charger, there's also 2 USB ports, 2 Type-C ports. These are again 2 cup holders along with a good amount of storage unit right here as well. Now Mercedes is also including more USB Type-C ports in there. Apart from it, there's a good amount of mist too. These seats that you see here, these are not even ventilated. They don't even have any massage function anymore, and thereby the entire cabin is a good amount of addition and certain amount of subtractions as well. This is the off-road engineering package, and along with that there's something very intuitive that Mercedes has brought to the GLC now. This is the transparent bonnet. Now up to 8 kilometers per hour, this car can show you everything that's under the front bonnet right on your screen in a live feed. Just like the top-of-the-line S-Class, this car also gets fingerprint recognition for Mercedes Me app. And not just that, along with it all, you get the entire bells and whistles of geotagging and more from all of these apps that are available on the MBUX NTG7. Mercedes is offering dynamic modes on this particular car. There's the Eco, there's Comfort, and there's Sport. There's also the individual mode that everybody prefers. Apart from the modes on this particular car, the 4MATIC Plus system also allows you to increase the ground clearance of this particular car by 20 mm. As all the Mercedes cars, this also gets memory seats, and the texture used as door handles over here on the metal finish is very intuitive to touch. Mercedes is offering the new GLC with two powertrains. There's a turbo petrol which churns out 258 HP of power and 400 Newton meters of torque. And then there's the turbo diesel, which in itself will churn out 197 HP of power and 440 Newton meters of torque. Now both of these engines have been paired with a 48 volt of battery power. This on its own can produce up to 200 Newton meters and thereby acts as the filler in turbo lag. The power delivery on this car is pretty peppy and also linear when you put your foot down on the throttle. Mercedes has stopped calling this as the EQ boost. They call it as mild hybrid now, and it acts like one. This does not just fill up the power gaps, but has also increased the fuel efficiency of both these engines by up to 10 to 15%. We are yet to test that, and we will when we get to drive this car in our cities. Paired with a 9-speed automatic gearbox, this is one of the best gearboxes that Mercedes has on offer, and now the GLC also gets it in both the diesel and the petrol. It can be controlled with these paddle shifters right here. We're driving through narrow lanes of Hampi, Karnataka, and here we're not able to test the entire power band of each step that we have on the 9-speed. But as we can see, these paddle shifters right on this steering, they make it much intuitive to use them. The gearbox on its own is very smooth. It shifts seamlessly. There's barely any noticeable lag in shifts or power. The rev range, it's all the way up to 6.5 on the petrol. And we are yet to drive the diesel. Well, to be honest, we do not have the diesel here to drive. So we will be checking it out when we get our hands on it. But as of now, I can tell you about the GLC 300, which is the petrol. This engine is very refined. It does not feel stressed at all. In fact, when you push it, there's a good amount of hum and a good amount of tune that this engine sings, along with a good amount of power delivery that you get from that throttle response. The biggest gripe that the customers of older GLC had was how the suspension setup was way softer. This was good for undulations, but really bad when you had the car at triple-digit speeds or when you were cornering at high speeds. There was a considerable amount of body roll. Mercedes has improved on this feedback, and thereby now the car feels more balanced at corners and also in triple-digit speeds. Like the earlier car, it does not wobble around. In fact, it also feels very balanced even when you're taking rough undulations on the road. The suspension setup does feel a bit more stiff when you're going through sharp undulations, but overall it's a very balanced setup, and Mercedes has very well improved the GLC in this particular form factor of the ride. GLC was always a fun car to drive thanks to the entire SUV proportions, and just like the older one, this one too gets a nice good amount of view from just about every window pane that you see here. There's a good amount of electronic adjustments on the steering and the seats, thereby you'll always find a very comfortable position, and it would also be a whole lot commanding thanks to the entire size of this vehicle. Mercedes engineers were very clever when they added an integrated starter generator technology, which is called as ISG in the entire automotive term. Now this ISG is the starter motor itself, which also doubles up as the EQ boost motor when the power is required in this car. Also, it charges up really quick because there's just 48 volt of battery, and this battery is in the main hood right up there. The usual 12 volt battery is in the boot right behind. Although Mercedes is not offering any AMG pack on the Mercedes GLC, this one gets a pretty well balanced steering wheel. You have a 3-spoke steering wheel. This is something that we have seen in the other Mercedes cars as well, and it's very precise. It's also lightweight in city and weighs apt when the speeds pick up. Despite the increase in the dimensions of this vehicle and that EQ boost, it feels very well calibrated for the GLC. On the safety front, Mercedes is including the new GLC with 7 airbags as standard. Not just that, there's also ADAS level 1 or level 2, that's up to you to decide. Well, blind spot assist, active lane keeping assist, car to X communication along with active braking too. This active braking assist is also included with active parking assist. Not just that, there's also attention assist, and there's parking package with the 360-degree camera. The Mercedes GLC has always been a global bestseller for Mercedes, and they've taken all this feedback from their customers and improved the newer GLC to match the needs of this modern era. This one has not just improved from the outside, it has also got a better interior from the inside. And not just that, the entire feedback of softer suspension setup on the older GLC has also been adhered to, thereby this car feels much planted when you're on high speeds and also when you're taking corners. Now, from what we see, this package looks like another bestseller from Mercedes. What do you have to say about the Mercedes GLC? Let us know in the comments section below. Stay tuned as we get a full review of the Mercedes GLC as and when we get this car in our particular city. We might also put it up against its competitors and check out how exactly has Mercedes improved the newer GLC. From what we see, this will be a global bestseller yet again. Until next time, stay tuned, like, share and subscribe. And for everything good, stay tuned to Exhibit channel.